Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another review. And now, after having just watched Yellow Belly do a live stream on YouTube, which featured the CPC version of Vixen, I thought I'd have a look at the Spectrum conversion of the same game. Now, I'm looking at the 128K Spectrum version, as the 48K version has precious little in the way of sound. And from what I understand, it doesn't actually have this music that you're hearing right now either. Now, you may remember that I mentioned in my review of Game Over that there was a rather raunchy marketing campaign involved in that game, and unfortunately, Vixen also had a similar approach with I believe a model called Corinne Russell, using her assets to help market the game. And in fact, the loading screen actually has a digitized picture of her, and all things considered, considering the Spectrum's attribute limitations, it's a pretty well digitized and colorized picture. So basically, what happens in this game is that you are on a planet in a parallel universe, a planet named Granath, and you are the last human left on it, and you are the titular Vixen. And your character, who's actually been raised by foxes, and you can actually turn into a Vixen at points later on in the game if you collect enough of what's known as fox time. So let's get this show on the road. So there's our main character, and she's dead already. That's nice. First thing you notice is that she's very well animated, and so are the dinosaurs. And I've just raised my fox, got some fox time there. Seeing near the top of the screen, there's this white line with a fox's head on it. That shows my current level of fox time. Damn it! And as you can see, Vixen is armed with a whip. Oh, goodness me. One thing I don't like about this game is that the jumping mechanics are a little bit fiddly. There are times when sometimes she just seems to fall straight down in mid-air for no apparent reason. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Let's try this again. My understanding is on the 48K version you wouldn't have been hearing any of these sounds. Turn around! And you can't seem to... Oh, I see. You have to remember to keep the directional button held down as you go across gaps, otherwise you'll just fall straight into them. Ah! And you also can't turn around if you're actually whipping. You actually have to stop whipping before you turn around. The trouble is that when you're being surrounded by enemies, that's much easier said than done at the best of times. God, I nearly whacked straight into that boot-shaped thing, whatever it is. See, because I was constantly whipping, I couldn't turn around. Why not? You actually have to momentarily stop whipping in order to be able to turn around. The problem is that's a lot easier said than done when. Oh, blooming hell. All because you can't turn around while whipping. I am impressed with the main character's animation in this. That is pretty nicely animated. All because you can't turn around while whipping. Turn around! I hit that thing. Oh, how was I meant to know there was something there? And sometimes when you're whipping, you can't actually jump forward. You can only jump straight up. Like just then, I was trying to jump up and to the right, and for some reason, it wasn't letting me do it. Oh, blooming hell! I'm sure I hit that thing. That is a nice sound effect for the whipping. Remember, this is a Spectrum, so its sound effects capabilities were fairly limited. Oh, that is so irritating. Oh God, why can't you have some invincibility when you first respawn? You just. Oh, turn around. I've lost so many lives, and I did actually manage to build up that fox time meter at the top of the screen at the end of the previous game, because I was hoping to. Because if I managed to get to the end of the. Oh, go home! I clearly hit that. Oh, God. Now, please don't die. Trying not to die here. Yes, I might be able to turn into the Vixen now, because I've got a fully built up fox time meter. Yes, here we go. This is just a bonus stage, and I've got a. I don't like the fact you actually have to press fire in order to pick things up, though. Oh, damn it! Why do you have to press fire to pick things up when you're a fox? Why can't I just touch them? I mean, you can just touch them when you're a human. You bugger. I mean, you don't have to press fire to pick things up when you're in human mode. What? I hit that thing! Ugh. So that's Vixen for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. A luridly advertised game which could have been quite good, but is let down by some rather repetitive gameplay and some iffy hit detection at times, and some irritating gameplay mechanics. Graphics are nice, backgrounds are colourful. I didn't see much in the way of attribute clash, and the sprites are generally very well animated. I mean, the way that Vixen runs is very impressive, and even when you turn into a Vixen, she's well animated in that transformed form as well. So I was really quite impressed with the overall visual, the overall visuals of the game, and not because of those two things either. Sound, well, this music's quite nice, and there's some that really good whipping sound effect in game. For a Spectrum, that's a pretty good sound effect. Even for 128k, the game, that really did sound genuinely like a whip would sound. Gameplay, well, as I said, the idea of jumping across gaps and whipping things and trying not to fall in water or down holes and the like, that does get a bit repetitive after. I remember this game came out in 1988, and that was 6 years into the Spectrum's life, so the audiences by that point were a bit more sophisticated than they would have been back in the Spectrum's infancy. There's also problems that with the controls. I mean, there were points where I suddenly seemed to be stopping moving forward mid-jump for no apparent reason, and you can't, if you're holding down the fire button to keep whipping, like if you've got several enemies in front of you, you can't actually keep it held down if you need to turn around to get to someone who's behind you, because she just won't turn around, and that can lead to some very frustrating deaths. And that in itself is a shame. And I also don't understand why you have to, when you're picking up the items, when you're in that bonus stage, when you're the Vixen, why you can't just touch why you can't just touch the objects to pick them up. Why do you have to press fire to pick them up? You don't have to when you're in human form, so why do you have to do it in Vixen form? It's just an added complication that I feel is totally unnecessary and doesn't really add anything. It just makes it more annoying. And it also adds to problems when you're jumping, as you saw, because I fell down that hole and lost the bonus. So I'm going to give Vixen for the Spectrum, I think I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. It's not a total disaster, and if you can get past the fact that its original marketing was rather sexist, there is a potential for a good game in there. It's just let down by being a bit too repetitive, and there not being enough combat moves for Vixen to actually defeat her opponents with, and because there's some frustrating gameplay niggles that make the game more irritating than it needed to be. So I hope you enjoyed that review. Catch you on another one soon. Texty88 out.